It's called Mantis.
Yeah.
Alright. You guys have homework for me, so could you please pass that forward? And there it is. Could you clear up your desk, please? Clear up your desk. Thank I cannot pass back your evidence quizzes because I still have people in every single class that have not taken them yet. However, they should get back to you tomorrow. So that shouldn't be a problem. You guys did really well, so.
We're supposed to get our own.
Well, yeah. But the natural selection vocabulary quiz is coming back around to you. Flip it over on the other side and do it again.
Oh, that's where you take one?
Guys, if you have your natural selection vocabulary quiz, please flip it over and take it again. There should be no talking. that one more time. Number 1 is H, number 2 is E, number 3 is D, number 4 is F, number 5 is B, number 6 is C, number 7 is A, number 8 is G. Write the number correct at its 8 on the top of the sheet or anywhere on the sheet of paper. Here's a stapler. I would like to staple the highest score. Well, all right, never mind then. So when you turn the main task before with the highest score on top, please. Highest score on top. Highest score on top. Please, and thank you. Highest score. Pass them up, pass them up. Highest score on top.
Thanks, baby. I know. Ready to get on to natural selection? Natural selection is all about the ability of being able to survive and reproduce. Okay? We want to survive and reproduce. Why do we want to survive and reproduce? Why do we want to survive and reproduce? Yeah, so ultimately the population or the species will continue over time. Okay? It's all about being able to survive and pass on your genetic information to the next generation. And natural selection is dictated by the environment. The environment is key here. Natural selection is dictated by the environment. It occurs to individuals over their lifetime. So it is relatively quick in compared to evolution. If an organism only has a lifespan of a couple of months, it's going to happen relatively quickly. Yeah? question just says is that species will produce more offspring than survive. So a species is going to produce more offspring that are capable of surviving. Are we in front of my drawings, guys?
Whiskers.
Okay.
But what about the other
The method to the different color hats. You're drawing these, right?
You don't have
Colorful for a reason. It's my madness.
Are the two black ones the parents?
No, they're just there. Okay.
to.
So, the next part of this, give it parents, no. The next part of this is, what can you guess? Why did I draw them different colors? Some all slightly bigger than others. Genetic variation. So, so within a population, you are going to have genetic variation. So, individuals in the population will have different traits. So, hair color, fur color, height. This goes back to our talk about DNA, right? So we talked about genes here. So hair color, eye color, height, how long the legs are, how short the legs are, strength, speed, wingspan, anything like that. Those are all dictated by DNA. So you're going to have, you might have organisms of the same species or the same population, but they're going to be different, right? Take a look at this room, for instance. Okay, we're all part of the same species, but there's great genetic variation just within this room itself. So, same thing goes for natural selection. Any questions about this so far? Yes, no, maybe so. Right. What are the two main sources of genetic variation? Here's your map. Goes all the way back to DNA. Two main sources of genetic variation in a population. Well, mutation is one of them. So, mutation is a source of genetic variation. What else is a source of genetic variation? Okay. Not different, well, does that have anything to do with the person's genes? Nope, you're close. I can see what you're thinking. Parker,
Good crossover.
crossing over. So, we call this gene shuffling, because you can shuffle it around. So crossing over and that's not it. You remember the other one? All the way back. Takes place during menopause. Got it? There you go. Independent assortment. And it comes back. DNA comes back to haunt you. So we've got genetic variation. Two main sources of genetic variation are mutations and gene shuffling. Mutations occur randomly. We know that, right? Mutations occur randomly. So that one red kitty cat up there was a result of a random mutation in the hair color gene. Okay. All the rest are normal colors for cats, right? Come on, guys, give me something. Yeah? All right. So, moving on. What's the next part? No. The one that you guys probably know the best, associated the best with natural selection. Survival of. Can I erase this? Yes?
No.
Not yet. Can I erase overproduction? Ellie? Nick? How does the struggle to survive? So, organisms are going to compete with each other. Because we have an overproduction of the number of organisms within a population, okay? Some of those organisms are not going to be able to survive. Why are they not going to be able to survive? Because they're not going to be able to make it through this part, the struggle to survive. They're going to compete. Organisms within a population are going to compete for one another. What are they going to compete for? Right. Food. What else? Diana. Food, authority, and some animals have, like a pride type system, so they'll compete for being masters of the universe in their own little population. What else? Patrick.
Like a mate.
They will compete most definitely for a mate. Remember what I said at the beginning of the year? It's all about sex, guys. We want to be able to pass on our genes to the next generation. So you most definitely are going to be competing for mates. What else are you going to be competing for? Food. Domination of your little population, a mate, job, shelter. What else are you going to compete for? Is that it, Brett?
Territory.
Yeah, territory. You might compete for your territory. What else? Food, shelter, water. So you're definitely going to struggle to survive. Also, we need to take in mind other types of environmental factors. Disease, right? That's disease. You got to take into account, density independent factors like hurricanes or tornadoes or something that might come by and eliminate a few members of the population. They won't be able to survive those. So there's going to definitely be this struggle to survive. So in my population of cats here, I have an overproduction of my population of cats. I have genetic variation in my populations of cats. And I'm going to say that they're living in an environment that is primarily the most from the rest, sort of, yes? Some of you might have said blue, right? So red or blue? Okay. So, whether or not you are successfully adapted to your environment or unsuccessfully adapted to your environment, okay, it's determined by the environment. If I was to change the background color of the environment in which these cats lived to red, and not change any of my cat colors, but I just change the environment in which they're living, the cat that's most successful in the environment is going to change, yes? Does that make sense, guys? So if I change the environment in which they live, I'm not changing the cats themselves, just moving them to a different environment, the environment dictates which cat is going to be successful and which cat is going to be unsuccessful. Is that clear? So the environment dictates whether or not the cat is going to be best suited to the environment or less suited to their environment. So in this case, we're going to get rid of some cats. So we have a struggle to survive. I'm going to be a predator. What eats cats, guys? Wolves, something like that. So I'm going to be a wolf, and I'm going to eliminate. Here's my struggles to survive. Okay? We're struggling to survive against predators. We're struggling to survive against, stuff in the environment, hurricanes, weather changes, food, disease, all that other type of stuff fighting for me. Some individuals are going to survive, the ones that are not X'd out. Some individuals are not going to survive. The individuals that are not going to survive ideally have not made it to the age where they can reproduce, or they have not reproduced yet. Okay. So we don't have any baby black cats out there. Okay. That clear? So, now that I've eliminated those cats, what is my environment going to look like next? What is my environment going to look like next?
Mostly red cats with some reddish green.
We're going to have red cats, we're going to have green cats, we're going to have blue cats, and we're definitely going to have pink cats. So, but which cats am I going to find more of in my new population? What cats am I going to find more of in my new population? Say they reproduce, but they only give one offspring. Which cats am I going to find in my new population? We're going to find mostly pink cats. In my original population, which color cats did I have the most of? Patrick? Green and blue. So in my original population, I had green and blue cats. And after this struggle to survive, okay, my new population is going to be mostly what? Mostly what color? Pink. Is that a change from the original? Over time, ideally? Yes? This is by natural selection, is how the mechanism by which evolution takes place. Evolution is a change over time. Granted, a long period of time, because we still have that genetic variation. If there's a mutation that takes place in my pink offspring cat, and my pink cat has a baby and gives birth to a blue cat, okay, we're still going to have blue cats in the population. But this is a change over time. Do we see this? Yes, no, maybe so. I just sort of give me some thumbs up or thumbs down here, guys. You gotta give me some indication. Yeah? Got an idea? So, we can talk about fitness too. Which cats are more fit in this population? The newer population, the pink cats are going to be more fit. And new population. Because when they reproduce, they're going to be able to pass on the genetic information to the offspring, and they're going to ultimately have more offspring. Because the ones that will below the brain. Does that make sense, guys? Yes? No? Maybe so. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about adaptation. So adaptations are dictated or are any inherited characteristic, so we're talking about genes here, any inherited characteristic that increases an organism's chance to survive. Increases an organism's chance to survive. So we can have successful adaptations and we can have unsuccessful adaptations. But what determines whether or not an adaptation is successful or unsuccessful? What determines whether or not an adaptation is successful or unsuccessful? Jack. Parker.
Natural selection.
Nope. The environment. What determines whether or not an adaptation is successful or unsuccessful, Jack? No. Claire, help him out. The environment. Jack, what determines whether or not an adaptation is successful or unsuccessful? The environment. Parker, what determines whether or not an adaptation is successful or unsuccessful? The environment. Okay. An adaptation, we could be talking about hair color, eye color, skin color, whether or not you have big biceps. But if it's going to increase your chance of survival, that's a successful adaptation. But that's determined whether or not, that's determined by the environment. Okay. So, examples of successful adaptations. Porcupine quills are definitely an adaptation that are successful to porcupines. Okay. Adaptations can be, these are structural. Adaptations can be structural. So porcupine quills are a structural adaptation. How do I know that they're a successful adaptation? Well, because every single freaking porcupine has quills, and they hurt. Talk about them. But every organism has it. Every porcupine has it, so they're successful. If all of a sudden we were to take porcupines and put them in a different environment, porcupine quills might not be a successful adaptation, and that population of porcupines might change over time. Very small. John.
So if the adaptation spreads, we can infer that it's a good adaptation.
Well, yeah, if the adaptation spreads, what you mean by spreading is you mean that if the porcupines have lots of babies and pass on the genetic information. Yeah. I think so, yeah. I don't think they're like I don't think they like develop over time to be what they are, but yeah, it's like hair. You don't have all your long, luscious locks of hair when you're born. You might have some hair, but not a whole lot. So, other successful adaptations you can have. Functional adaptations. Photosynthesis is a functional adaptation. organisms out of their environment in which these adaptations are successful and place them in a different environment, these adaptations might not be successful any longer. Is that clear? Any questions about this? Yes, no? Alright. Next part of what? 3 struggles to survive is 3. So 4. Differential reproduction. So individuals that have certain traits are more likely to reproduce than those individuals who do not have certain traits. So organisms that have successful adaptations because they've passed, they've gotten A+ in the struggles to survive, they're more likely to reproduce. However, this is where we get fitness coming into play. So fitness is measured in the amount of offspring you have. So we go back to my cats over here. If my red cat has 5 offspring, my blue cat has 1 offspring, my green cat has 1 offspring, my pink cat has 2 offspring, and these cats have no offspring. Who's the fittest cat? Who's the fittest cat? Katie? The red cat's going to be fit. Why? Because it has the most offspring. Has the most offspring. Has the most offspring. Now, in this scenario, with my population, how is my population going to look? Now, what could happen now? Sydney, give me a little bit. You're going to have more red cats than pink cats. Remember before, in my other scenario, I said each cat that survived only had 1 offspring, and ultimately we would end up having more pink cats in that scenario. But in this case, we're going to end up having more red cats. So it's all about whether or not you can survive, but ultimately it's about whether or not you can reproduce, your fitness. Can you reproduce? Can you produce multiple offspring? Can you pass your genetic information on to the next generation? So that's fitness. And fitness is a result of adaptation. How is fitness a result of adaptation? How is fitness a result of adaptation?
The more you adapt to your environment,
The more you adapt to your environment. What do you mean by that?
well, I mean, eventually, if the environment is green and there's other different colors of cats, but over time they will become more and more green. I don't know.
Not in this scenario, the green
Well,
cat got
see,
killed.
I don't. Never mind.
It's okay. It's okay. How is fitness a result of adaptation? Any thoughts, guesses, guys? This takes some practice and some getting used to. Right?
The organism that has a successful adaptation, they can survive longer, pass it on to their offspring, so their offspring can be successful. And then have more.
There you go. Does that make sense, Fred? Yes? Yes, no, maybe so? So, you're born with an adaptation. An adaptation is just part of you're just born. You have genetic variation. I have blonde hair, Meredith has brown hair. Right? I have blue eyes, you know, somebody else in this room might have green eyes. You're just born with it. Those are your adaptations. But depending on the environment we might be in, if I was gonna live in, you know, the Caribbean, you know, somebody who has darker skin than I do, more melanin in their skin, might be better suited to that environment, won't get burned as quickly, and might be able to survive more than we do. So fitness is a result of adaptation. Any questions about anything we talked about today? Yes, no, maybe so. Go through your notes, look through, let me know if you have any questions. I know we're approaching the end of the period here, but
Can skin color change as a mutation?
skin color change as a mutation. Skin color is a polygenic trait, which means that skin color is controlled by more than one gene. So you would have to have multiple mutations and multiple genes, and as we know, because we have DNA polymerase and all those fun proofreading enzymes, having a mutation. You guys are like giggling back there. Why? Are you making fun of my cats?
No, then is it not possible for a white person to have like a black
Oh. Well, where would you have to have that mutation? What cells?
skin cells?
No! Closer, but no. Sperm and egg, guys. Okay? You might have a mutation in your own skin cells, but unless the mutation is carried in your sperm, your offspring's not going to get it. So is it possible for somebody, yes, if there's a mutation in their sperm or egg cells, but the likelihood of that occurring is slim, and two, they probably have a partner.
Isn't that what happens to create? Like, wasn't like,
Wow.
wasn't everyone when they were born in school, like, boomerang started in Africa?
Isn't that great?
So we were all like,
I don't even know how to answer that.
I think that's solid, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like
I never said white people were. Wow.
Bye, guys. Terrific Tuesday.
yeah.
Terrific Tuesday. Are you walking that way?
Just face it, white people were a mistake.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Wait, there's the, hold on.
gonna make the test. Horrible.